Of the Great War of the Ring, many songs have been sung and many tales told. The names of heroes like Gandalf the Grey, Aragorn the King, and Frodo the Ring-Bearer are greatly revered, and rightly so. Yet Sauron's grasp stretched much further than the lands of Gondor and Rohan alone, and his forces might have done great evil in the north of Middle-earth, had a handful of heroes not stood in his path. Their stories, too, deserve to be told. Pay heed now to one such tale, which begins here in the town of Bree, just a few short days before Frodo arrived on his quest.
Aragorn.
Eredon, well met. And in company with Andriel of Rivendell and Farin of Erebor. An unlikely trio to find walking through the doors of the Prancing Pony. You were at Sarn Ford last I knew. Do you bear news from Halbarad?
Yes. Grim news.
I feared it would be so. Quickly, tell me what has happened, but keep your voices low. There are unfriendly ears, even here in Bree.
3 days passed. The guard at Sarn Ford was attacked by 9 Black Riders.
Stand fast, Rangers!
We were overwhelmed, and the enemy passed into the Shire.
This is worse than I imagined. I know these riders. It is from Mordor they come. Our folk could not hope to stand against the 9 together. How bad were our losses?
Very bad. We tried to resist them, but they were surrounded by an aura of unnatural dread.
There is more you should know. After the rout, one of the Black Riders met with an ally, a man of great malice and power.
As our master commanded, I have stirred up the orcs of the mountains. Even now, I have a force gathering amid the ruins of old Fornost.
Return at once and prepare your forces. We will have need of them soon.
My orcs will be ready. These lands have known peace for too long. They will soon feel the Dark Lord's wrath.
If this Agandaur has a force at Fornost, then our position grows all the more desperate.
But why all this force against the peaceful halflings? It can't be the enemy sees them as a threat.
I will say this much. There is a hobbit of the Shire who should be coming this way with a great burden. If it falls into the hands of the enemy, it will mean doom for us all. Now this hobbit is adrift on the road with enemies all around. I must find him before they do. And I need you to help me keep him safe.
You are my chieftain. I will gladly do whatever you command.
I'm a part of this now as well.
Then we 3 are of one mind. How can we aid you?
We must reduce the threat from the enemies gathered at Fornost. Travel there and do whatever you can to keep the enemy's eye turned towards you and away from the Shire.
Perhaps we will have help in this task. Eladan and Elrohir were in the north when last I heard. Any gathering of the enemy is certain to attract their attention.
Good. You could find no better allies than the sons of Elrond half-elven.
I hope we meet. But with or without help, the enemy will be kept busy. We'll make sure of that. I have a few questions, if I may, Aragorn.
Shh. Here in Bree, there is no Aragorn. Only Strider the Ranger.
Yes, Strider 'tis. But what will you do now?
I will continue the search for the hobbit I spoke of. I've already scoured the road between here and the Shire, but found no trace of him. I fear he may have left the road, perhaps to escape pursuit. My hope now is that he will make his way here to Bree, the only safe haven for many miles. But if he does not appear soon, I will take to the road again in search of him. Should the enemy at Fornost join in the hunt, well, you understand just how grim our chances will become. I need you to prevent that. Go to Fornost. Take the fight to them.
We will do all we can. Farewell.
You should be on your way to Fornost. The fate of Middle-earth may depend upon drawing the...
What of this man, Agendour, who met with the Black Riders? What do you make of him?
Some servant of the Dark Lord, and by his name one to be feared. His presence in the north bodes ill for us all, but I'm glad you discovered it. At least now we are forewarned.
Those things that attacked us at Son Ford, those Black Riders, I've never seen anything like them before. What are they?
Do you not know them? There are whispered tales and legends enough that tell of them. They are the Nine, the Ring Wraiths. Of all the servants of the enemy, they are the most feared.
This Agendour, he was no wraith. He seemed like a man, one filled with malice and dark power, but a man nonetheless. But what kind of man would serve the Dark Lord?
Not all the Dark Lord's servants are wraiths and orcs. There have been and still are many men, warriors and kings that walk alive under the sun, and yet are under his sway, willing or unwilling.
What can you tell me of Fornost?
Fornost was once a great city, the capital of the Dunedain kingdom of Arnor. It fell to the Witch King long ago. The men of Gondor and the elves formed an alliance that drove the Witch King out, but Fornost was never rebuilt. The ruins remain a place of dread for many. The men of Bree call it Dead Man's Dyke and fear to go near. It is a perfect place for our enemies to gather in secret.
So, Agendour chose well, it seems. We'll travel to Bree is a pleasant enough place, but the people here mistrust my kind.
Welcome to Bree. You're a stranger around here. May I ask you a few questions?
What sort of questions?
We hear a lot of talk from travelers these days. Most of them speak of war and of a growing shadow in the east. The townsfolk just dismiss this, say it's far away and doesn't concern us, but I'm not so sure. You've traveled, maybe seen a few things. What's your opinion? Should we be worried?
The danger is real, but there are those who will do all they can to defend you.
I know we have our defenders, but I fear they are too few. It's time this town took some hand in its own defense.
There is wisdom in your words, but do others share your concerns?
Very few. Most seem to feel that bad things could never happen here. I'm afraid I'll have to act alone for now.
What do you intend to do?
I'd like to arrange for arming the town. We'll need more than pitchforks if we're forced to defend ourselves. I tried to convince a dwarven merchant to bring us weapons, but he refused.
But why would he refuse?
He seems convinced there's no market for weapons in this town, and said it wouldn't be worth his time.
Perhaps I should talk to him.
It's worth a try. His name is Groff. He's selling his wares from a market stall down the street. You might still find him there.
I will let you know what he has to say.
Welcome. It's always good to see a ranger in my shop. Looking to buy or...
I never thought to receive such a warm welcoming.
Oh, I'll not deny there's folk in town who would prefer that rangers stayed away. But for my part, I'm happy to see them. There's no one like a ranger for bringing you news of the world. Not to mention items of interest.
Have you heard any news lately?
Plenty, but none of it good. Seems there's trouble away south. People are on the roads looking for new places to live. Folks around here are sympathetic, but none too eager to take in a host of strangers.
I am afraid it will get worse. There are dark times ahead, for everyone.
Save me. But you make it sound bad. Personally, I prefer to keep my thoughts as cheerful as I may. Bree has always been a peaceful place, and I hope it will remain so.
Your peace is maintained by the sweat and blood of others. You have no idea what dangers lurk a day's journey from your gates.
Oh, now you're exaggerating. We here in Bree don't bother anyone, and no one bothers us. That's the way it works, don't you see? But let's not be so gloomy.
Hello there. Ranger, are you? Let me guess. You've sprung some rivet or busted a blade out there roaming about the wild, and you need old Elmin to make...
You recognize me as a ranger, do you? Then you must know some of my folk.
Know 'em? No, not really. You're kind of usually tight-lipped, like to keep your secrets and all. But I have dealt with a fellow named Ador now and again. Tradesmen work for tools and iron on occasion. He knows his way around an hammer and anvil, he don't.
I will leave you to you.
Well now, if you don't mind my saying so, you don't look much like a Breelander. Is there something I can do for you?
I have a favor to ask of you.
A favor? What sort of favor?
I would like you to bring a store of weapons to sell to the Bree folk.
You're pulling my beard. Weapons for these folk? They wouldn't know which end of the sword to hang on to. I might as well try selling shoes to hobbits.
They may have had no need of weapons in the past, but these are unsettling times. They must be able to defend themselves.
I'll not deny times are growing dark. There's trouble all around. But you'll never get these folks to believe it. Life's been too easy for them for too long.
Not everyone is blind to the growing threat. It was one of the townsmen who sent me to ask this of you. There are others who are worried as well.
It'll take more than a few sensible folk to make it worth my time. These people are simple and peace-loving. It's plowshares they want, not swords.
Don't let their past prevent them from preparing for their future. It would be wrong to leave them defenseless.
You're right, of course. Maybe it's not such a bad idea after all. At least I'd have no competition. All right, I'll do it.
Excellent. I will let them know of your decision. Safe travels, Gruff.
Did you speak with Groff? What did he say? Will he bring us weapons?
I managed to convince him. You will have your arms.
Excellent. My only concern now is the time it will take. What if we need to defend the town before the dwarf-made goods arrive? Maybe you could help me with that as well.
How so?
I can tell by your gear that you are no stranger to a fight. If you should have occasion to, well, let's say, recover any weapons you don't need, bring them to me, and I will pay you for them.
I will bear that in mind. Farewell.
This is Fornost, yet I see no sign of the enemy.
These ruins could hide a large army. We might even now be under the gaze of unfriendly eyes.
Well, we came to provide a distraction for Aragorn, and what better way to do that than walking in the front door? Let's be about it.
Servants of darkness! Mind the archers! You face a Dunedain now! The big black opened! Servants of the enemy, beware!
Everyone unhurt.
These ruins are not sound.
We must find a way out of these pits. These goblins are small, but deadly all the same.
You're no match for me! Servants of the enemy, beware!
Enter the sphere of light and be healed!
Face a Dunadan now! Can't take much more! Aid our friend!
By my beard, that was a close one.
creature could be making those cries?
I thank you, friends. Without your timely arrival, my death would have been slow, but certain.
You can speak.
Why, of course. The great eagles of the north speak as well as any man. I am called Balaram. My home is in the Misty Mountains, and I serve Gwaihir, Lord of Eagles. Who is it I have to thank for my rescue?
I am Eridan, one of the Dunedain of the north. And my companions are Andriel and Farin.
Then I am indebted to you, Eridan of the Dunedain, and to your friends.
What brought you here to Fornost?
I often range far across the lands of the north, gathering news for Gwaihir, my lord. When I saw activity here in long-abandoned Fornost, I grew curious and flew low.
What did you see?
Goblins and other foul folk are working within the ruins. They appear to be preparing for war, building siege engines and stockpiling arms.
Did you see any sign of the one who leads this force?
I saw a tall man, heavily armored. The goblins obeyed his commands. Who he is, I cannot say, but he had an aura of menace, like one tainted by the shadow.
Agandar. It must be.
You know this man?
He is
I will assist.
If we could reach the top of the wall, we might be able to destroy the machines.
Beyond those doors, you will find a passage and stairs leading up to the wall.
The machines are certain to be heavily guarded. We have little chance of surprising the goblins with but one way to approach.
I will take to the air and draw their fire. If we are fortunate, that will allow you to gain the top of the wall unobserved.
Very well. Let's go.